Hey there everybody, it's Russ from Path Less Pedaled, and in this video I'm going to give you my first impressions of riding in the Quoc GT shoes for the first time. I'm also going to compare them to some Giro Terraduros, just to give you guys a comparison of the Quoc GTs with a shoe that's been out on the market. Welcome back, Path Less Pedalers, and if you're new to the channel, if you're interested in things like bike touring, bike packing, and gravel riding, then consider subscribing. So about 2 weeks ago, Quoc sent over a pre-production model of their GT shoe. This is a shoe that's designed for mountain biking and gravel events. Again, this is a pre-production model. They're going to be launching a Kickstarter campaign. So if you want to see this shoe in production, join the campaign. The link, unfortunately, is not out yet, but I will link it in the video once that becomes available. So that said, I do want to kind of talk about the fit and feel of the shoe and what I thought about it after a 75-minute trainer ride. So in terms of fit and finish, if you've never handled a Quoc shoe, they're just really nice. The leather feels nice and supple and soft. In terms of inside the shoe, it's not pure leather. There is kind of an internal lining. I think it's kind of microfiber-ish. I'm not exactly what the material is, but there is something bonded to the inside of the shoe. Perforations for breathability. I'm not quite sure how much those actually aid in keeping your foot cool, but I will say that the leather is fairly thin, so it's not like a big heavy winter boot. So moving on to the outsole, these are fairly deep and aggressive lugs. And the rubber that they use is actually fairly nice. There is a little bit of give in them, so they do feel tacky, and they're a lot deeper than I've seen in other shoes. In terms of overall sole stiffness, I feel like the sole is plenty stiff. I don't think you lose that much in terms of pedaling performance. If anything, it does take away a little bit from just walking in the shoe. This isn't a shoe that I would want to hike in for many hours. If you're in a pinch and you have to do a little quick rock scramble, or you hit a muddy part of the road or the trail, then these are definitely sufficient enough to get you by with good grip. In terms of lacing, they've got an interesting hole pattern here. There are extra holes here near the bottom. I'm not sure if that's to accommodate a wider forefoot, or if that's just to give better purchase as the laces wrap around the shoe. But that is an interesting touch. Near the top, near the ankle, there are double holes, so you can do a lace lock, which I did end up doing. I'll get into that in a little bit. On the tongue, there is this little piece of elastic. So when you're done lacing the shoe, you can put the laces in this elastic and keep it from running into your chain or your chain ring. So that's really it for, I think, my physical impressions of the shoe so far. The only riding I've done so far is on a Zwift training ride for Dirty Kansas. So, this isn't going to give you this video isn't going to give you a sense of long-term durability, or, is it how waterproof it is, just kind of how it feels on the foot so far. I did notice a couple difference from the shoe I have been using, the Giro Terraduro. Because I know many of you have this shoe, and you might be using this shoe and considering this one if it hits its Kickstarter goal. Right off the bat, one of the big differences between this Giro and the Quoc is the weight. So the Giros on my scales came into 1 pound, 1 ounce per shoe. And in comparison, the Quocs came in at 14 3/8 ounces. So if you're metric, the Quocs are about 90 grams less than the Giros. Pretty significant. Without even the scale, you can tell that these are way portlier. Let's talk about the outsole here. I would say that on the Quoc, the tread is a lot more aggressive and will bite more into loose terrain. The Giros, it's got a great Vibram sole, but the lugs aren't that deep. They're fairly closely spaced together, and I don't think they'll give you as much purchase on looser, muddier terrain in the same way that the Quocs will. I think another big factor that a lot of people have been asking about is fit. And this is where these two shoes really diverge. I don't know if it's me, but whenever I try on a shoe from Giro, they are absurdly narrow in the forefoot. To make it work for me in the forefoot, I usually have to go a size and a half larger to make the width fit, but then I feel like I'm wearing a clown shoe. I remember specifically when I got these, I actually put those foot expander things in here trying to stretch out the forefoot of the Giros. Now, when compared with the Quoc GT, it looks like a narrow shoe. I think side by side, you would think that the Quoc is a narrower shoe, but I don't know if it's because of the leather and how supple it is, or just kind of the general form that they use for the foot. But I felt that the Quoc GT was a lot wider than it looks, and it fit like a glove. I didn't have to do any extensive stretching of the shoe right out of the box like I did with the Giro. So far I'm really stoked on the fit. To give you guys a frame of reference, I'm usually a size 8.5, but I have a wide-ish foot, so I ended up buying a size 9 to make the width work. And this is a Euro size 43, and the fit was perfect. In terms of the closure system, this clearly has Velcro and a ratcheting strap, and this has laces. And for me, I did find that I needed to do what's called a lace lock on these. So you know those tight double holes near the ankle, you make a loop and pass the lace actually through there. And what this does is it keeps your heel from slipping when you're on the upward arc of the pedal stroke. So for some that might not be necessary, but for me, having the ability to do a lace lock up here really locks down the shoe. I'm gonna go into the things I like and dislike so far about this pre-production shoe. So the first big like is the material and build. It's really nice build quality. The leather feels really nice. The rubber on the outsole is nice and grippy. I love like the big thick lugs for a lot of bite. Another big like, especially when compared to the Giro, is that the forefoot has some width to it. I didn't have this feeling of my foot being cramped in there. I didn't have to stick a shoehorn to kind of stretch things out. It just fit right out of the box. So if you have wide-ish feet, or if you find Giros tend to be a little bit more like ballet slippers and shoes, then you might dig the Quocs. So really that's it so far in terms of likes. Again, I haven't put in a ton of time in this shoe, but so far I'm digging them. I think they compare really favorably to the Giros. You know, they're lighter, they fit better. The outsole, I just prefer these. But hopefully these will get made in production. In terms of dislikes, there's not a whole lot so far. I'm not quite sure what the final price is on these shoes, so that could be a barrier to some. But again, you're paying for a pretty nice shoe. I guess if there would be kind of one concern, might be the durability of the outer. Again, it's this kind of nice leather outer, and time will tell. We'll see how that reacts to rocks and things poking into it. It's just a pretty shoe. You almost don't want to get it dirty, but I mean it's supposed to get dirty. But that is one thing to be aware of in the future. So that's it for my initial impressions of the Quoc GT. Again, this is a pre-production shoe, not yet available to the public, but just wanted to give you my thoughts so far in this pre-production. If you guys have any other specific questions, leave those in the comments below. I'll be sure to answer them. If you like this video, like, share, subscribe, and thanks for watching. And until next time, ride bikes, travel, do good.